Once upon a time, there was a dry forest deep in the mountains. It had not rained for a long time. The river had dried up and the ground was dry. In the middle of the endless brown forest, there was a lush green spot. There was a large tree full of leaves. This large tree, which had been alive for over 1,000 years, reached the water below, deep underground, in the hard rock. The big tree, which had lived for more than 1,000 years, grew much higher than other trees. At its top, dozens of bluebirds were gathered. They are all on their way to a living forest far, far away. At that time, there was a mother bird and a little bird on the ground. The little bird has injured his wings and is unable to fly with his mother and the other little birds. She has no choice but to leave the little bird here. The mother bird looked up at the big tree and said,
"Please take care of my beloved child."
The tree responds gently,
"Of course, leave it to me."
The birds at the top of the tree took off at once. The mother bird also said goodbye to the little bird and went to join her friends. The little bird flapped its wings and tried to follow but could not even float. It was a few months ago now. When there had been no rain, the forest had started to wither. The big tree told the big animals and birds to go far away to the living forest. But the caterpillars, worms, snails, and other small animals could not go far and came to rely on the big tree. The big tree worked hard to suck up water from the river deep in the earth. But they are only able to water the plants and trees around them. The small animals could eat nuts and grass, but they could not drink water satisfactorily. That has been going on all the way to today. And today, this little bird was left alone in this forest. The big tree calls the little bird, which is staring off into the distance, to a hollow at its base. There was a snail. The tree was protecting the snail from the dryness of the forest with water pumped up from underground. The tree said to the snail,
"Leave him here, too."
Then the little bird would sleep beside the snail at night and dig and peck at the ground during the day. Such a daily routine began. But even when digging in the dry ground, insects are hard to find. For this reason, the big tree drops its own leaves on the ground for him. Snails also drop insects on their branches. After a while, the little bird grew a little bigger and its feathers turned blue. Still, the blue bird cannot fly. He was still unable to catch his own food. The blue bird feels sorry for himself. And now they have had a big earthquake. The ground cracked with a tremendous sound, and the snail fell. The snail fell headlong into the darkness. While falling deep into the earth, the snail was caught in a violent stream of water. The snail was swept away by the water and pushed out into the wide open space by the shower-like spout of water. After that, the blue bird and small animals fell in one after another. Everyone who fell into the puddle was very happy. Satisfied with their water play, everyone climbed up on the rocks and then looked for a way out to return to the surface. In the dark, the lizards climbed on the rocks and the snails dived into the water. But there was no way out. The animals finally realized that they were trapped and felt hopeless. That's when it happened. A voice echoed around the area.
If you all work together, you will be all right.
It was the voice of the big tree. Its roots were coming out of the cracks in the rock. The big tree called the blue bird and told it to peck at the spot where it had deliberately rotted. She said,
This is something only you, with your hard beak, can do.
If he digs on, we will be above ground. Even the despairing animals had hope. The blue bird, which could do nothing on its own, became everyone's hope. The blue bird, given this strength, immediately began digging a tunnel. The other animals carried wood chips and widened the tunnel. They all ate the wood chips and occasionally returned to the puddle to rest. And so, the tunnel digging continued for days and days. However, the blue bird gradually became weaker and weaker. Its feathers are falling off little by little. The big tree gently said to him,
Why don't you take a rest for a while?
But the blue bird shrugs off her words and continues digging. He needed to hurry because there were other animals that were weakening. Days passed, and finally, the ground was just around the corner. But then, the blue bird finally loses all mobility and faints. His beak was chipped, and he was blind. The big tree can no longer help the blue bird. She wants to at least help the blue bird achieve its dream. She called out to him.
You're almost there. Wake up.
The voice wakes the blue bird. He pushed up the ground with his last ounce of strength. Then the outside air flows into the tunnel. The animals join forces to push the blue bird up. The blue bird laid on the ground. The animals then emerged from their holes one after another. Everyone was happy that the tunnel was completed. Now they could go and drink water freely. The blue bird is full of contentment even as his consciousness fades. With snails watching over him, he remains in eternal sleep. And so, angels descend from the sky and invite the soul of the blue bird. The soul slips out of his body and soars into the sky with a swoosh. The angels lead the soul to the horizon where the mountains can be seen. That is the direction in which the blue bird's companion flew. The big tree whispers as she watches the bird fly away.
You did a great job. Thanks.
In a ray of light on the horizon, the birds become smaller and smaller. Angels flying together say to the bird,
God had watched everything. Now we are going to take you to your mother.
The angels led the blue bird into the living forest. When they arrived at the living forest, the mother bird and her children gathered around. The mother said,
I was worried about you. I'm sorry I left you alone.
The angel says,
God left this child in the forest to save the animals. And he has done it beautifully. We have come to tell you that.
Then the angels go up to sky with the blue bird. The mother and her children looked up at the sky forever. The end.
This story continues far into the future. Blue birds and big trees will be reborn and meet in the future. That is the story of Unseen Life. Please subscribe to this channel and enjoy it too. It would be great if you could draw illustrations and make a picture book.
Oh, yes. Only the ending is different between the Eastern and Western editions, so please listen to them as well. See you again.
Bye bye.